Oh, I forgot to do my intro. All right, guys, here's the intro.
What's the Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Well, let's give Scientology a little bit more to be afraid of. I'm going to keep monetization off on this video so I can really say what I want to say. I'll tell you, Scientology's really ramped up the attacks against me online since I got to LA to cover the Danny Masterson trial. And I say, game on, bitches. I don't know how Scientology thinks. Scientology versus the internet, Scientology loses every single time. You want to start a war on the internet? Yeah, not a good idea. Not a good idea. So guys, and I'm about to head out of the hotel to head to the courtroom for day 2 of the actual proceedings in the Danny Masterson trial. And I figured, you know what? Let's just get a little something on the record and see what happens today. So a child molester, a Scientologist and child molester named Graham Bruwer has been showing up to court every day to support his good buddy, Danny Masterson. Graham Bruwer also showed up in the first trial. And, you know, I had looked online for a photo of Graham Bruwer earlier on when I had heard that Graham was showing up to these things. And I couldn't find a photo because I couldn't believe the photos that I saw could actually be Graham Bruwer. This guy looks about 20 years older than he should. Anyway, let me just get his face on screen here. Okay, so let's see. Normally I have like 3 screens in front of me when I'm at home, but I don't now. So forgive me while I'm a little bit clumsy navigating through these photos. Okay, this guy on the far right here, the guy who looks about 30 years older than everyone else in the photo, that is Graham Bruwer. You can see him here next to Danny Masterson. On the left is actor Eric Balfour, who's a Scientologist. I don't know who the other guy is. He looks kind of familiar. Okay, there's another photo of Graham looking, I don't know, slightly younger. This is him second from the left there. Okay, so here's here's why I'm bringing this up. Graham Bruwer molested a whole mess of young underage Scientology girls in Clearwater, Florida. And it just so happens that one of the girls he molested is one of the victims in the Danny Masterson trial. So, you know, I really wanted to ask Graham, hey, Graham, I'm not clear. Are you here for Danny or are you here for Jane Doe? In other words, are you just here to support your friend or are you here to intimidate someone you molested when she was an underage girl? And I had a chance to talk to him yesterday in the courtroom. And this guy, not in addition to being 20 years older than he is, he apparently also has amnesia. He doesn't remember me. He doesn't remember the Jane Doe. He doesn't remember a whole bunch of our mutual friends. He remembers being in Clearwater and he goes, mate, that was 30 years ago. I go, yeah. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And here's how this came up even in the Scientology world. And this story just offers a little bit of a glimpse into the mind of a Scientologist, even victims, Scientologists who are victims. So the girl in question, she was a girl at the time. She was underage. You know, she was just in this friend group of young Scientologists in Clearwater. And Graham was from South Africa. He looked a lot better back then, is all how I can put it. And the young girl that we're talking about sent a report to the ethics officer, not because she thought at the time that what Graham was doing was a crime, but because she thought that what Graham was doing would create bad PR for Scientology. He was like inappropriately grabbing and touching young underage Scientology girls in public, like out in the real world where the wogs are. And so she wrote this report and said, you know, Graham did this to me in public and this could create bad PR for Scientology. That's what I mean when I say a glimpse into the mindset of a Scientologist, even one who's being victimized. And so it was the ethics officer who, during the investigation into Graham and what he was doing, discovered that Graham had molested a whole bunch of underage Scientology girls on the Flagland base. Now, Scientology's morality on this subject is dictated exclusively by whatever the laws of the land are. So what I mean by that is Scientology doesn't have a moral stance on the age of consent. If there was some nation state that lowered the age of consent to 6, you would have some Scientologists moving to that country and saying, what's the problem? We're all thetans in bodies and it's not against the law. Scientologists, the Scientology authorities only care about issues like this to the degree that it puts Scientology itself at legal risk. And a secondary consideration would be PR risk. The primary consideration would be legal risk. So once they found out that Graham had committed crimes, many crimes against underage Scientology girls on the Flagland base for which he could be prosecuted and imprisoned, they shipped his ass right back to South Africa. And I'm not privy to the details of exactly how that went down. I don't know if they, gave him a date that the statute of limitations expired that he could return. I don't know if they gave him an ethics and auditing program to finish before he would be allowed to return. All I know is that somehow he ended up, remember he was in Clearwater, Florida at that time. Somehow he ended up in Los Angeles and became sort of a fixture in these Scientology celebrity circles, and apparently became one of Danny Masterson's BFFs. I mean, BFF to the extent that he's now here sitting in trial, which is a very mundane sort of monotonous, excruciating process, sitting here in court all day, every day, just to be there as a show of support for Danny Masterson. I got to tell you, when you show up to the rape trial of a guy who raped a girl you molested, you made some fucking weird ass life choices, man. And so, it's like Scientology is such such a glass house. These guys live in the glassiest of houses, trying to throw stones at people and thinking everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. You know what? The victims in this case, obviously I'm talking about one in particular, doesn't deserve to have to come to the courtroom and testify with not only her rapist sitting 20 feet away, but a guy who molested her sitting 25 feet away. And, of course, the people, the authorities in the courthouse don't know that Graham Bruwer is there and who he is and what he's done and his past relationship with or his past connection to one of the Jane Does, because they were never in a relationship. And I don't even know that I would expect any authorities at the courthouse to be like, yeah, bro, you can't be here. He hasn't been convicted of a crime. He hasn't even been charged with a crime. There's probably not even a single police report on file in any Scientology, any jurisdiction where Scientology exists about Graham Bruwer molesting kids. But I got to tell you, someone who goes around molesting kids doesn't tend to just do it in one area at one time. You know what I'm saying? And just take a look at the guy. There's probably a reason this guy has aged 20 years beyond his biological age. So yeah, that's all I got on this, guys. Headed off to court today. I do hope to make it back to the hotel on the extended lunch break to try to do an update. I'll do another update after court gets out after 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm also planning this evening to do a live stream sort of recap with my attorney friend, Zach Morgan. So a whole lot to come today, guys. A whole lot to come. Let me get my little outro ready. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. This isn't, the most upbeat of videos, but it's a video that needed to get done this morning. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here.